to Redneck Home on the Range. I'm Harold, your creator, and today we're going to play with this guy right here. This is a copy of a Colt 1851 Navy revolver. It's made by Pieta in Italy. Now they call it a 1851 Confederate Navy revolver, and by my count, the Confederacy didn't come into existence until about 1861. So, well, they're in Italy, so I don't expect them to, keep up with with history here. But anyway, it's they make a lot of reproduction guns. Pieta does, and also another Italian company, Uberti. They make a lot of them. They're more expensive than the Pieta guns, so I don't know if that means they're a higher quality or just more expensive. But anyway, I got this one from Pieta. I didn't get it from them directly. I think I bought it from Academy, but this is one of those guns that you actually can mail order. You don't have to get a background check or anything to get one of these. You just order it and they send it out in a box. Okay? Anyway, as I was saying, they made like about 260,000 of these. 42,000 of those was in London. Yeah, the British had guns back then, but they didn't like them. Colt made this gun somewhere between 1848 and 1850, and when they first released it, they called it the Ranger size, and then they called it the belt model revolving pistol. Revolver, you can't call it pistol. Anyway, we'll get into the terminology, but they produced this gun from 1851 up to about 1873, when cartridges took over from cap and ball pistols, and you can see why it's a whole lot more fun to cram a cartridge into a cylinder than have to load this gun in the slow and easy way. The Navy term on it just showed up, I guess because the U.S. Navy bought a bunch of them. I'm not sure. But anyway, the way this thing works, and you need to know this before we go, is that you put the hammer back on half cock, and then the cylinder will revolve. Alright? So you take a little powder measure and you pour the powder in the cylinder, take a patch and ram it down in there, and you put a ball in, and then you rotate it around where it's underneath the arm, and then you pull this thing down and you push the ball into the cylinder. Now, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see what the heck I'm doing. And then you put another shot of powder in the ball and the patch and roll it around until you've packed 6 of them in there if you're going to use it right away. Now these things were notorious for firing if they fell out of your holster and they'd go off. This one, being a reproduction, has got a safety feature that the old ones didn't have, and that is you can drop the hammer in between cylinders. Alright, now what this thing used to set it off, you used little percussion caps that were put on the nipples that you see right over the back of this cylinder here. Put it back on half cock, and you can see that there's a little nipple right behind every cylinder, and it's just like a cup. You just shove it down on top of that nipple and hope it'll stay on good and tight, because I've had them fall off. So they could be a real surprise if you were in a gunfight and the nipple fell off, the cap fell off the nipple there, and you pow with nothing. Of course, being a revolver, you get to go and do it all over again. Now this is what they call a single action revolver. You can pull the trigger, nothing happens. The only way you can fire it, you got to cock the hammer, and then when you pull the trigger, it'll fire. I've got a 22 caliber pistol that works the same way. So this thing, you got a brass frame, so they limit how much powder you can get, because it could be overloaded. And anyway, this thing shoots. Now, to my recollection, it's been a while since I shot it. It shoots a little high left, and about 10 yards, it may shoot, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches high left, or might be low left. We'll find out when we get to the range. I already forgot, where it goes. And there's another wonderful surprise you get. This thing blows carbon all over the place. Your hands turn black from shooting this thing. All I can say is I'm sure glad I didn't have to face down outlaws or marauding Indians or anything with something like this back in those times. Life was hard. It takes you a month of Sundays to load this sucker. And the cavalry guys would have as many pistols as they could carry. They'd have 2 or 3 in their belt and some on holsters, and that way you didn't have to reload so often. You could shoot one, throw it down, get another one, shoot it, and so on. Makes sense to me, especially when the vets hit the fire. Anyway, having talked about it and told you about it, we'll go to the range. Oh, one thing I didn't tell you. See the hammer here? There's a little slot somewhere in the hammer. Oh, there you are. There's a little slot there. That's your rear sight. If it isn't right, well, it's just not right. There's nothing you can do about it. At least that I know of. Except maybe get another hammer that doesn't have one filed in, and file one in to match where the thing's shooting at. Well, one thing I should show you the whole works here. This is my powder measure here. You take it, put your thumb over this hole, turn that over, and you flip that guy down and then let go of the valve. And when you come back up, this measure will have 36 grains of powder in it. Okay? And then you just pour it down in the cylinder of the pistol. These are the balls that it shoots, and these are little plugs for the cylinder. They're kind of cork or something. I had some patches that were felt patches much thinner, and that's probably what I should have here, but I don't have any. I ran out. Here's the caps. This is what the caps look like, and let me get one out of there. As you can see, it's just a little cup with some explosive stuff in it. That one's going, and you just shove the open side of it down on the nipple. Hopefully I can find that, because this is my whole world supply of caps. This is the powder that it uses right here. Of course, there's a lot of different brands. This is just what I've got for this one. And I need to order more balls for it, because I don't have any more. They're 44 caliber. I'm sure that I didn't mention that. These guys here are for the little cannon I made. They're 1/2-inch ball bearings, and this is fuses for the cannon I made. I forgot to mention that in in the video the other day. In fact, several things were sitting over there on the wall that I had made, didn't think about. It's hard to keep up. You make junk for a few years, and then you don't even think about it anymore. Oh, and just to be sure that the amount I measure out of that other thing is right, I've got this graduated measure here, and I can set it for the amount that I want to put in. It's a lot more certain than just flopping that other thing over and then pouring it in the gun. And this is a powder measure, and it's graduated from, well, I guess 0 powder all the way up here to about 45 grains. Okay, so if that little powder horn, I guess you could call it, doesn't hold what you want in the amount of powder, you can set this for what you want and load it. Okay, this thing is intended for putting caps in, on the nipples, and there's a cap in it here, and it's turned sideways, of course, which is pretty much the way they all wind up for me when I tried to use it. I don't like this thing, and I found out it was easier for me to just put the caps on with my fingers, really, if I can get it to let go of that cap. Anyway, what you do is the caps are supposed to slide down here and have the opening this way. You just shove it on the nipple and pull it off, because this is a spring here, and the cap stays on the nipple. But like I say, you can see this thing's sideways. It's just too much trouble for me to use this thing. I don't like it. Here you've got a ball. This is what it shoots. And this is a nipple wrench. This side fits the nipples to take them off. This side's a screwdriver, and I guess it could be an all-purpose wrench for the gun. This is what the percussion caps look like when they're not sideways in the percussion cap dispenser there. And I've got several of them here in a little container. I don't remember how many is in there. I think about 100. I think that's what it holds. Yeah, holds 100. These are number 10 percussion caps. So we will take, now when you load the pistol, you're supposed to pour the powder in, set a patch on the cylinder, set this on the cylinder, and push it in on top of the patch. And the reason for that patch is to try to stop crossfire, so that the sparks from one cylinder when you fired don't get popped around and into an ejection cylinder and make it fire, which would be messy considering they're not pointing down the barrel. I don't have any patches, so we'll just risk the old redneck. One of the things you'll see when I put this into the cylinder and I shove it in, that there'll be a little ring of lead left on that cylinder. That proves that this thing's got a really good seal. It's had to shave some metal off to get inside the cylinder, so that gives me confidence that it's sealed tight enough that I'm not going to have a crossfire. And like I say, I don't have any patches right now. Ran out. So we've been through that. Let's take it out to the range and give it a little shot here and there. We'll shoot it some. Alright, I've got it on. I'm going to leave it on until we get through here, because I can't see it right outside. And we're going to load up this pistol. Get it out of here. Powder. Pistol. I say pistols. Revolver. There's a difference between pistols are semi-automatic and revolvers. They got a cylinder that rotates. And I get them all. I say one thing and another. Okay, so we'll load it up, and you can watch the fun loading part, and you get this thing on half cocked. I left my equipment bag at home, so I was lucky I got some sunglasses I can put on, although I don't need them. It's dark out here, like as if it's fixing to rain. But we'll make the grade one way or another. Alright, I'm going to load this one here. I'm going to assume that you can see what I'm doing. Alright, powder. I don't have any patches, so I'll put a patch in there. Put the ball on there, roll it around. Back it down good and tight. Okay, they're all 6 loaded.